Om Sri Sai Ram, and welcome to the next episode of Tuning Into Sai, a podcast series offered by Sri Sathya Sai Centre of Mill Hill, where we hear the beautiful and cherished experiences and wisdom from some of our centre's longtime devotees. In today's episode, I am joined by Pinakin Shah. Pinakin uncle was born in Uganda, grew up in Kenya, and moved to the UK when he was 17. He is currently a dentist by profession. Uncle has been in Swami's fold for 48 years, which is incredible, just incredible. I'm really looking forward to our discussion, and has been part of Mill Hill Centre for over 30 years. He has previously served as spiritual coordinator at Mill Hill and has also had the chance to serve in Swami's General Hospital since 1998. Sai Ram, and welcome, Uncle, and looking forward to hearing your experiences.
Thank you, Sahil.
So to start things off, Uncle, can you share a little bit about how you first encountered Swami and in your life? Was it from birth or later?
What happened was Swami made one trip to East Africa. That's the only trip Swami left the shores of India. And that was in 1968. He traveled Nairobi and in Kampala. And my dad was keen to make sure we see Swami's darshan, pravachan. And I remember I was, I think, about 10 years old, and Swami was walking past me in that darshan. After that, there was a pause. Then one of my eldest brothers got a gift of Swami with Abhay position, a nice photograph like that. And that was sitting on a lounge in Nairobi. After that, I came to UK. And I went to, I did A-levels in London, and then I got a chance to study dentistry in Newcastle University. I went there on a Monday to register. At the accommodation office, they said, we have lost your accommodation papers and you'll have to go to an alternate residence, which was far away from the university. I said, I've not come prepared because with that residence, there was no food for the weekends. Only meals were provided during the weekdays. And they said, it's a small problem, you'll manage. So I go to this alternate halls of residence. The warden was waiting for me. And she had a list of things which she had to ask. And I said, I'm a vegetarian, but don't cook vegetarian for me. So she said, that's puzzling. So I said, look, I'm going to be here 5 years. Although I'm a vegetarian, I'd rather learn how to eat meat. And she said, there won't be need for that. So she just called in the chef. There it was in the foyer. And the chef said, I'll cook cheese flan, egg flan, any pastas, pizzas, whatever dishes. I said, no, don't spoil me. So there it was. And then Monday evening, I go to the refectory. I find all the dishes were there, and I said, yes, put that meat dish as well. I don't touch it, I eat all the rest. Tuesday, I do the same. Wednesday, again, I do the same. The meat is there, left untouched. And I said, no, I'm sure I'm going to start eating from next week. After that, in the evening, on that third day, the warden came and sat next to me. She said, Mr. Shah, I'm watching you. You're not touching the meat. So she said, next day, at lunchtime, go to the self-catering university flats. There are 6 rooms. 1 room is vacant. 3 rooms are postgrad students, and the other 2 are vegetarian brothers. So if you like them, they like you, you can take that last room. Oh. So at lunchtime, I knock on the door. This brother, the older brother, opens the door. He was doing, I think, 2nd year engineering. And he said, he surveyed me and he said, okay, take a seat, wait till my younger brother comes in. And the younger brother comes in. He obviously had the key and he came in. So I'm looking at him, I said, Harish, what are you doing? And he said, Pinakin, what are you doing here? We had just become freshers at the dental school. We had become friends for 2 days.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
He told his brother, he's my best friend, he's going to stay with me. Now, he had become a Sai Baba devotee.
Okay.
And he gave me Holy Men and the Psychiatrist book. Once I started reading it, I thought this is something missing in my life. And that's how I became into the fold.
Okay.
And we used to do bhajans there at the university. We stayed together 5 years.
Wow. Okay.
So I think Swami did not want me to eat the meat. He somehow misplaced the papers.
Yes.
To cut a long story short, he made the warden watch me, sat next to me, made plans for my visit to that residence. I don't know. I still feel it was Swami doing everything there.
Yeah, so from the moment that you went for your accommodation, you had no idea that this whole plan was coming and it was going to land nicely where you were with
the only other time I went to Newcastle from London was on the day of my interview. Okay. Otherwise, I knew nobody in Newcastle.
Yeah. Okay. And you said that your friend gave you one of the Swami's books, and from that, what was that feeling like learning about who Swami? What pulled you in from that book, or?
I think I would just call some kind of divine magic. I would say something that was missing in my life. I thought life is not just about studying, working, eating, and he was drawing me towards him. That's how I look at it.
Okay. Wow, that's very very interesting the way that all came together. And then how did your, I guess later years, how did that relationship with Swami develop?
So what happened, it was a 5-year course. So at the end of the 3rd year, there's a gentleman called Papaji, his real name is Gulam Bhai Bhati from Wellingborough. He was taking a group of about 40-50 people, and I and Harish got a chance to be in that group.
Okay.
And those were days when there was no cyclone hole, there was no roof, there was no tiled roof, it was Muram, it could be very hot, could rain, and as the crowds were small, you could almost get a chance to sit on the front.
Yeah.
I think in 1980 there was no such thing as even token system, you could just go and sit there. Those were the days you could take a camera, and while Swami is giving you darshan, you can take his picture.
Wow. Okay.
So within 2 or 3 days, Swami called us in. Later, it was a 3-week trip, and then in the last week he went to Whitefield, and on the last day he gave us an interview again. And in that interview we had cameras and we were taking Swami's picture, and Swami said, "Hey, you're blinding me with your flashes." Then he said, "How many of you are there?" And we said 40. So he said, "Look at my Sai camera." He waved his hand and he produced 40 visiting cards in which there was Swami's picture and Swami's address of Prashanti. Wow. And then he physically gave each one of us with his hand.
Oh my gosh.
I remember going to my room and I thought, let me smell this. And I smelled the photographic elements, the developer fixed the solution like that. So I feel Swami does materializations in 2 ways. Yeah. One is he gets the elements together at that moment and creates, say, rings or something like that. And the other is the object is already somewhere in the world and he brings it to you.
Wow. Thank you, Uncle. That's really powerful. And I think you mentioned before we started around much more interaction with Swami. Many that are tuned in will not have had the chance to see Swami, have become devotees later in life. Can you share a few more experiences of that interaction with Swami?
So one day, there was a time we were in an interview and there were 18 of us, 18 gents. He was asking questions to everyone. And this group was with Ajit Popat. Ajit Bhai had said in the meetings in London that Swami will give you probably 2 chances. So you have 2 questions ready. I had one question about my wife's health and the other one was about buying my practice because I was working for somebody. So I said, "Swami, shall I buy my practice?" He said, "Yes." "Oh yes, buy." So I said, "Swami, where?" He said, "Anywhere." I wanted somewhere in London. So I said, "Swami, anywhere in London?" He said, "Yes, you buy, I'll always be with you." Wow. So he was asking questions to everyone and then he would keep looking at me. I was lucky to sit right in front of him And he looked at me, and meaning that I should start asking more questions. So I said, Swami, how do we keep in good health? He said, make sure you sleep, work, and eat from time to time. It was just a very short, succinct answer. I asked Swami, bless our families, they're back home. Some of them are not keeping well. And he said, yes, all blessed. The interview was fairly long.
Yeah.
So he then was playing with a handkerchief. And he threw it on my lap. So I said, Swami, why are you giving me so much love when I'm not a good boy? So he said, never say you're bad. Always say you're good, good, good. Then he was, after asking a few other questions, he again looked at me, and he just then did this to me. I had to just take 2 steps, and as I was coming closer to him, he waved his hand and materialized this ring for me.
Oh, wow. That's
so
incredible.
he was giving me so much love.
Wow.
I probably had 8, 9, maybe 10 questions to ask.
And
then at the end of the interview, he was giving vibhuti to everyone in this room. And I think I was probably the 3rd person to get it. And then around the end, and we were just following him around like a lovely mother, you follow it. And then suddenly he turned around me and he said, did I give you? And I don't know whether he was testing me or what. I said, yes, Swami.
Yeah.
And then he said, where's the kerchief? So I didn't understand what kerchief meant at that time.
Okay.
And then Ajit Bhai said, he's talking about handkerchief, handkerchief. I said, Swami, it's in the pocket. He said, keep it, keep it, keep it. So it's at home on the altar. I'm going to go back to how Swami helped me by the practice. So after that interview, I made some trips to Swami, and I had a letter. I said, Swami, I do express interest. I'm prepared to pay even the full asking price, but somehow the vendor keeps refusing my offers. So I gave him that letter, and that was around Easter 2005.
Okay.
Then I go home. After a few months, a letter came from one of the dental brokers. It was a Wednesday evening. I forgot to take it to my workplace on Thursday, and I remembered on Thursday night that I've lost my chance. It looked like a suitable practice. So Friday, I ring the broker and I say, look, I want to view this practice. So he said, Mr. Shah, you will be the 16th person to view that. So I said, I'm sure it will be sold by then, because those were the times. If the price is right, even if the price is high, people just bought the practice very quickly. So I said, okay, I don't mind watching, I don't mind viewing the practice. So he gave me a date. It was about 10 days time from that Friday.
Okay.
But I said, look, if you have a cancellation, let me know. I can go at short notice. So an hour and a half later, he rings me. He said, can you go this Tuesday at 7 o'clock? So I said, fine. So it was 7 o'clock time. So I was there at 6:45. This is a place in Kilburn in London. So I knocked on the door. The seller opened the door. He said, what have you come for? I said, to view the practice. I'm the 7 o'clock person. So he said, I'm waiting for the 6:30 person to see the practice. So I said, I'll wait outside. So he came back after 5 minutes. He said, looks like 6:30 person is not coming. You come in. And he asked for my name again. He said, you are not on my list. So I said, I think it was booked at short notice. Then he said, oh yes, I remember. And then he showed me the rooms, the figures, the accounts, the appointment diary, and so on. I had other questions. So he asked me, what is it you think about the practice? I said, I like this practice, but I'm sure it's already sold. Because I thought from Friday to Tuesday, Monday was a bank holiday. So I said, I'm sure a lot of people have already seen it and it's gone off the market.
Yeah.
He said, no, it's not gone. You're the first person to see the practice, because over the weekend, I wasn't here.
Wow. Okay.
And so I said, I'm happy to pay this price. Looking at it now, it was not high at all. And with Swami's grace, I've done very well. And the beauty is that how Swami looked after me. From number 16, he made me number 1.
Yeah.
In fact, a few days later, I paid the deposit, and the other prospective buyers were angry with the seller. He said, how come somebody can just offer the price on the first visit? We also want a chance, but this is what happened.
That's how Swami works. I think you surrendered. You just said, oh, yeah, you're very relaxed about it. You know, whatever happens, I'll go and see.
You have to.
And that's when Swami's taking the lead.
Even after the buying the practice in 2005, we had a new dental contract coming in 2006. The lead person of the primary care trust, the Westminster Primary Care Trust, was a little bit difficult with me. She said, I'm not going to give you a contract. It was meant to be given to the previous owner. So I had to argue with her in a nice way that, look, I bought the practice in good faith and I'm going to be here for a long, long time. This is my last place of work. And she was still adamant that I will only give you a contract once I've given all the other dentists in Westminster first. I asked a lot of senior people in the Department of Health, and they raised their eyebrows. They said, well, why is she treating you like this? Even the Chief Dental Officer, Barry Cockcroft, I had approached him. Even he was surprised. Anyway, I said, let it happen. Then February 2006, just before the new contract starting in April, on day of Shivratri, she rings me, this Westminster practice lead. She said, I'm watching your practice, you're doing very well, you're accepting a lot of new patients. Instead of what you are asking me, I'm going to give you an even bigger contract.
Wow.
And she was happy with that.
On Shivratri.
So sometimes things happen at Swami's time, not at our time.
Yes. Wow, wonderful. Thank you, Uncle. You mentioned that you've made many visits to Bharti, many interactions with Swami. Were there any others that stand out to you where you really remember how Swami was with you or with the group? Anything that stood out?
Once I was sitting in the portico because the dentist could go on their own right to work at the hospital. And we start at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that day, most of the dentists who work in the super specialty hospital had left. And the general hospital dentists seemed to have also left earlier to go to the hospital. But I thought there's still 5 minutes remaining. It was 5 to 8, and Swami could come anytime. I could leave the portico, the cyclone hall at 8 o'clock. So then the sound came and Swami's darshans was starting. So Swami came and there was nobody in the upper portico. So all the doctors left and went to the upper portico. I was the only person there. I was considering myself a junior doctor at that time. Okay. Junior person in that area. So I thought I'd look a bit like a lemon sitting there and all the others are in the upper portico. So I just went there. I knew I'm crossing the boundary here somewhere. And Swami came. With Swami, there's no such thing as that. It's only with humans thinking, sevadals and monitors thinking. So Swami looked at everyone, some had letters, blessed, and then he came towards me towards the end. So I was sitting in the upper portico, more closer to the interview room, and I had a letter there, and it was an open letter, and a few things, usually thank you Swami for giving me opportunities and so on. And I had written, your loving son Pinakin. So he read that letter and he said, Pinakin. So that's a good feeling that at least the Lord has chanted my name.
Yes. Wow. And it seems to me from the experiences that you've shared that Swami had in his physical presence a very, very interactive, very playful, very relaxed interaction with devotees. Is that?
He seems to give you at the right time. I feel he's always going to judge you, watch you, and give you a chance to express yourself. One day it so happened that I wanted to work in Swami's hospital. It was with a group with Ajit Popat, Sri Ajit Popat. And it's usually a 9-day trip. And then on the first day, on Monday, I report at the general hospital after the morning darshan. And Swami had already appointed a dentist there. So he knew our group was coming, and I had seen this dentist in a previous trip. And he would not let me come in. He said, go and sit in Cyclone Hall and just do your prayers there. No need to do any dental work here with me. So I said, we've been given permission by Swami. And he said, there is no room here for you to work. Somehow he didn't like the idea of me helping him. He was appointed by Swami as a volunteer. So then I went to the superintendent of the hospital, a few rooms away, Dr. Alrija. And I said, sir, this is the dilemma. He said, he could not do much more. He said, if Dr. Singh, the dentist's name was Dr. Singh, he said, if he allows, then fine. But he wouldn't. So I was just pacing up and down the corridor in the hospital, and then a couple of general hospital doctors saw me, and they said, Pinakin, they knew me. They said, we'll open another room. You can do some seva there. And then they called me half an hour later into their rooms. And there was a lady doctor sitting there. She is a retired doctor, but acting as a chaperone for all the students who come from Swami's Institute, primary school, secondary school. So she is a chaperone for the young children especially. So she had probably brought a few students who might have had a cold or a cough or something like that. So the doctor said, this guy has come from UK group, and how can he help the students? So she said, come with me in an hour's time when I'm going back to the hostel, and we will see what we can do. So she took me to the headmistress. And the headmistress said, okay, you can come tomorrow, give a short talk on oral hygiene to our students. So that was, I think, on a Monday. And I said, okay, how about tomorrow morning? And she said, no, tomorrow afternoon. The Swami staff are very clear with Rahu Kalam and things like that. So after the afternoon darshan, I was given the time on Tuesday to come. So this is one moment where I said, Swami, please come quickly, otherwise I'm going to miss my chance of going to the hostel.
Yeah.
And Swami came in his time. After the darshan was over, I was told to go alone with nobody. I went into the hostel and I thought they'll give me a room where there'll be about 20 students or so, and I can easily give a short talk like that. And I was taken upstairs. It's a huge prayer hall, an assembly hall, where Swami would come there. I saw a jula, and they had set up a proper talk and microphone, speakers, everything. And they had made me into a VIP there. So the whole hostel was, the room was empty, and suddenly all the girls came, and then all the boys came, and the whole school was seated there.
Wow.
And all the students were just watching me, and the staff were standing at the back of the hall. And I gave a talk for an hour and a quarter,
Wow.
including questions and answers.
Wow.
I went downstairs and they said, no, you're not going away. How many more days? I said, Swami has allowed us another few more days in our trip. So she said, very casually, why don't you start screening our children? So I said, okay, I can do that, but can I bring one helper along? And she said, yes. So I saw about 650 children, all Swami's children, in 3 days.
Wow.
And screened them, made notes of which students needed treatment. And I said, please don't go to the general hospital, the doctor will be overwhelmed. And she said, don't worry, these students do go home in the respective states and cities, and they'll have the treatment there.
Wow.
So
That's incredible, Uncle. How that all pieced together, the opportunities. Yeah.
So I feel the message is that sometimes we are always asking for the mundane things. Oh, I would have been happy to work, see a few patients, a few professors, children, villagers, but Swami had bigger things for me.
Yes. Gives you more
So
than,
sometimes
yeah.
you can wait for the right things, and
At the right time,
Swami has the
you'll
right
give
time.
more. Yes.
So I used to say, Swami, my motto was, Swami, make a use of me. It was very simple.
Yeah.
Swami, make use of me. You know what I can do,
Yeah.
what I can't do. So I would say that is a good way to tell the youths
Yeah.
that, wherever you get, you don't have to have always in front of Swami, wherever you are in the world, that you get the right opportunity
Yes.
for a job, for any seva activity.
Yeah.
Could be anything.
Very nice. Very nice, Uncle. You mentioned that you have served in Swami's hospital for, I think, 20 years, about 20 years. What was that experience like? That's such a wonderful opportunity over the years. Then Swami left his physical form in 2011, and then you continued after that. What was that like?
I would say each trip I made, I learned a few things. The first trip regarding the seva was 1998. Then in 1999, it started, there was no dentist there. To cut a long story short, the dentist who was working there had to leave for a personal reason. So just before I was going to go to that trip, I was told by Ajit Bhai, take the tools with you this time. So I got a chance to see that the equipment was not working very well. And then devotees were coming from USA as well. So it was conceived that let's do a dental school, a dental clinic, proper dental clinic with equipment. And I told this gentleman, Ravi Dabir, he was sitting in the veranda. I said, look, you are much closer in that respect. Why don't you ask Swami? So this idea of Rota, where all international dentists can come. This was the idea conceived by Swami. He said, my visiting devotees will do the work. Now even Indian devotees are doing. So we used to go there to work for 2 weeks. I would say the best lesson I would say is that we in the Western world take so many things for granted, whereas when you go and see these countries where it's very difficult to get help, how blessed we are. Yeah. The way these devotees would bless you, that was enough for me.
Yes. Uncle, any other experiences that are coming to mind?
Okay, one experience comes to my mind. I was finishing my duties at Prashanti, and I was waiting for the taxi driver to come. I'd reminded him the previous day, and it was about 6 o'clock in the evening. The rules are that in Prashanti you have to leave the ashram before 9 o'clock. Yeah. Even if it's a midnight flight or early morning flight, they don't want you to travel during the night. So I rang the taxi driver. He said, I'm still stuck. It is heavy rains. I think I'm not going to make it. But I said, I need to leave the ashram, and where will I get a taxi driver? He said, I'm so sorry, I can't help you. And I was just pacing up and down the room, and suddenly someone knocked on the door. And I said to this gentleman, his name is Jaya Reddy. He's a local person who I had befriended in my previous trips as well. So he said, Jaya Reddy, do you know any taxi drivers? He had come just to say bye to me. So I said, do you know any taxi drivers? He said, yes, he's sitting outside in the car with me. So I said, look, I'm in trouble. My driver is stuck somewhere outside Puttaparthi and he can't make it. It's no question of coming late. He said, my friend and I can drop you.
Wow.
So it was, it was only Swami doing these kind of things.
Divine timing. Yeah. And Uncle, just in terms of your relationship with Swami now, how have you seen his role in your life?
I would say he's always been my savior. I know they say he's my father, he's my mother, he's my teacher, yes, but I feel he's always been my savior. I feel he's always been with me. He gave me an undertaking in one of my first trips, he said, "I'll always be with you." And it feels great. When he said that, it doesn't mean he's always with me. He's always with all of us. It's just a question of just going within. So
Nice.
he's not far away. I would say physically he's not there, but he's come even more closer to us because he's residing in our hearts as he used to. But now we can focus more inwards.
Inwards. Yes, I've heard that from many people over the years, even recently, that their relationship has changed dynamic to more internal. Yeah.
Yes.
Uncle, I just wanted to switch over to now kind of spiritual service side of things. You had mentioned that you have served as spiritual coordinator at Mill Hill Centre. Can you just share a little bit more about that experience?
So this was when the center was in Canada Villa. I was the spiritual coordinator for 4 years. After 2 years, nobody wanted to take the role, so I was rolled on. At that time, I was conducting study circles, so that was my main forte at that time. I know the Bhajan wing was also part of the spiritual coordinator, but me not being a singer, I did not want to disturb them, and they were doing a very good job. So that was it.
So, Uncle, in terms of the different wings in the center, is there a certain, like, say, spiritual service wing? Is there one that you're more pulled towards?
So I would say that there are 3 wings, or 3 parts. One is doing seva service, or bhakti, devotion, or gnan, knowledge, wisdom path. So I would say one has to know all the 3. The Swami very beautifully explained that you have a rope, you have 3 strands, and they're all twisted and to make a rope. In the same way, I think each devotee has to have a little bit of all the 3. I would say initially I was doing more of the seva side, but bhakti has to be there. But without the knowledge, it's also not fruitful. So I would tell everyone to have all the 3 there.
3. Okay.
I enjoyed reading Sanatan Sati. I was always waiting for the Sanatan Sati to come on at my doorstep every month.
Yes. Thank you so much, Uncle, for sharing. Was there any other service activities or that you've been involved in over the years?
Yes, there's one activity which is the Heart Valve Bank charity project, which was initiated by Sri Ajit-bhai. He went to Swami and had the idea of donating heart valves. Swami had done the super specialty hospitals and they were in need of heart valves. So that was the main reason why this charity was set up in UK. So the hospitals both in Prashanti as well as in Whitefield needed these valves. And so we meaning UK charity used to buy these. And the UK charity meant that we got another 25% or whatever the going rate was on top of that. And all of that money was donated to India projects. Okay. Later on, it was found that the other organizations found out that Heart Valve Bank was helping charities in India. So they came to know and asked directly if the Heart Valve Bank could also help. And there is one of the main recipients is the Virat Hospice. This is in Jabalpur, Madhya Pradesh, and they started with 16 rooms, I think, and then they went on to build up huge complexes as well.
Okay.
In addition to that, heart valves were also used for other operations all over India. So there's a doctor called Dr. Anil Kumar. He's well known in UK as well, and he said he will do the operations free of charge as long as heart valves were supplied. So that was the second one. In addition, there were eye hospitals and eye camps, medical camps in Rajkot and other parts of India, as well as dental camps done, and all were financed by the Heart Valve Bank charity. Oh. I have been a member of the Heart Valve Bank since inception. Ajit Bhai made me a committee member, and at some point I was also a trustee of the organization.
Wow.
and it's going
Okay.
strong, and a lot of work has been done. A lot of operations have been done. Operations have been financed by Heartwell Bank, and it's going strong.
Thank you, Uncle. Next, I just wanted to ask you about Mill Hill Sai Centre. As you may know, we are celebrating the 35th anniversary of the centre this year. If you can please share about when you joined Mill Hill Centre, how you joined Mill Hill Centre.
Okay, my daughter Benita, when she was 4 or 5 years old, she was going to the Pinakins Centre, which was very close to our home in Queensbury.
Okay.
So one day, Ishwar Bhai Patel came to our home, and he said, "Why don't you take Benita to Mill Hill Centre? It's a bigger centre, more classrooms, and she will learn more things." So around that time, so I would say about 34, 35 years ago, we started coming to Mill Hill Centre.
Okay. And over the years, you know, you've been here for so many years. What has been one of your standout memories, fondest memories of the centre over the years? Anything that comes to mind about the centre?
I won't say there's one memory, but we are all very blessed to hear good musicians like you, your family members, all the vocalists, the musicians, and the visiting speakers who come.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think they are infusing so much of rhythm, electricity in all of us. That is what keeps us running.
So the memories have been more for you, the bhajan side and the learning from the guest speakers. We've had so many various speakers. Yes.
And even watching other devotees preparing the room for the bhajans, removing all the, folding the blankets. Everything is important. Swami has said that one person can't run a center.
Yes.
So we all have to pull hands together and have unity.
Yes.
So unity, purity, divinity, as Swami has said.
Yes. Thank you, Uncle. And how has the center influenced your life? You've, like we've said, you've coming most weeks. We see you here. How has that influenced your life outside the center?
I would say, after coming in Swami's fold, you are not touching alcohol. Not that I did drink or smoke. So I find my friends respecting me more for being what I am. So there should not be peer pressure that if I'm an accountant and I must be mixing with other friends or whatever it is, that you don't have to do what others are doing. So you can be yourself and others will respect you.
Okay. So the center is like almost like a grounding for you, almost like that weekly reminder, keeping you on the right path from your perspective.
So I watched my son and daughter, Paras and Benita, grow up in this center. And now, as you can see, Benita's, I was looking just today, I looked behind, and not only Nilay, 7-year-old grandson, he was helping Shanil, who is 4 years old, how to give vibhuti.
Yes.
So I find it so pleasing that we've benefited so much from the center.
Yes, and it's your grandson, I think, that helps also pack up the PA system.
PA system. He likes to wind the wheel.
Must be very young, right?
He's 4. He's just turned 4, yes. Today was also giving vibhuti first. So,
yes.
So the children watch what others are doing. So if we set an example, they will follow us.
Yes, and he's doing a very good job, I think, packing up the cables in the PA system. Wonderful, Uncle. So just moving on to the last couple of questions. As you may know, many young adults across the global Sai organization are navigating big moments in their life. It could be graduation, first job, business, marriage, kids, and so on, many other things that they're trying to navigate. What is one message you have for the young adults that can help them keep Swami close during these times?
I would say that youth should stay focused into their education first. Then when they find a job, to focus on the job as well. Not to compare or compete too much with other friends. All of us have our own journeys to make. So one thing I would say is, wherever you go, you say, Swami, make use of me. So he will give you the right opportunities. to do seva or to do your job. And I would say that is important.
Okay. Thank you, Uncle. And then just for the closing question, as you know, we are celebrating Swami's centenary birthday this year, 100 years. If you can please share your birthday wish, special birthday wish that you have for Bhagawan.
I would say Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Let all the beings be happy. There's so much of turmoil in the world.
Yeah.
I know Swami has said that this is a result. This is going back to a group interview we had, and somebody asked, Swami, why is there suffering? And Swami said, it's a result. Swami just gives one word answers. So then you have to think, what does he mean? So every action has a reaction. So we can't do anything. So we can pray to God, we can pray to Swami to raise our consciousness so that we become better beings and more peaceful.
Thank you, Uncle. It was really wonderful speaking with you, Uncle, and hearing all your different experiences, proximity with Swami, and wisdom that you shared so much as well. Thank you to everyone that has joined us in this episode of Tuning Into Sai, and please stay tuned for the next episode. Jai Sai Ram.
Jai Sai Ram.